Good morning. What a great day, what a great turnout. And on behalf of the City of Troy, I want to welcome you to the October 14th, 2014 grand opening of the Troy Transit Center. What a great day for Troy. As you know, this has been a long journey with many bumps in the road, but you know, it really has. And there are some people here that have experienced more of those bumps than I have. But today we are going to focus on the future, and we're going to recognize how wonderful this building is behind us. And if you take a look back here, how can you say that this wasn't worth all of the effort that everyone has put into this project? We know that when you build a transit center, it will enhance not only the area, it will redevelop the area, it will bring development, it will bring business, it will bring revenue to your city. And that is the reason why in 1993, a decision was made by our residents and business volunteers that the future in Troy was to build a transit center, to be a hub. Troy has always been a catalyst. Troy has always been a leader. And those people back in 1993 recognized that this center was going to be an asset not only to our city, but to the county and to the region. And I thank those people in 1993 that had the vision to start this project. But this is a bigger picture, and it is my hope that everyone will get on board with this project today. We need everybody to support this project. There's no reason not to support it anymore, because this is our future. This is a vision that we've had for 21 years, and that vision will start today. As I said, in 1993, we started this project, and then they put together a team, Troy Futures, with Vision 2020. And then the Planning Commission, they went and did their hard work. And in 2000, we finally were able to find some funding to get this project going. There are so many people here today that are responsible for starting this project, that go from our Planning Commission to our past city councils. And I would be remiss if I did not ask those Planning Commission members and those past city council members that are here today that feel that this is such an important project that they would still come out for it. Could I get them to at least stand so that I can recognize them, please? As you can see, Mayor Schilling and everybody sat down before I could, but I know Mayor Stein is here, Robin Beltramini, Doug Edmonds from the Planning Commission, who was so important to us when we had a little bump in the road. I don't know if John Tagle's here from the Planning Commission. John's in the back. Thank you, John. I think some people were standing that are still standing, so I didn't see them all, but thank you so much for all of your hard work. Thank you for everything that you did to get this project started. Now I would like to introduce the current City Council, who is responsible for putting the finishing touches on this project and making sure that it all went forward. And I must say, since 2000, every City Council voted in favor of this project. This particular City Council, after we voted to proceed with this project, has voted unanimously for every vote to make sure that this project was continued and is going to be successful. So I'd like to start, if I could, by asking Mayor Pro Tem Dave Henderson to stand, Councilman Doug Teets, Councilman Jim Campbell, Councilman Ed Pennington, Councilwoman Ellen Hoderick, and last but not least, Councilman Wade Fleming, who was so important with me 2 years ago to make sure that this just project continued moving forward. Thank you so much, City Council. I have to say that it's an honor to work with this team. We may not always agree on every item, but at the end of the day, I know this council makes every decision and casts every vote for the best interest of our city of Troy. And thank you so much for being such a great team. Thank you. I know City Manager Kishnick is going to speak about staff, but there are two people here today that I want to personally recognize because they've been in this since the beginning. They've been in through the thick and the thin and every bump that there was in the road. I haven't noticed, but is City Attorney Lori Grigblum here this morning? Yes. Lori, come up here, please. Just step forward. Thank you so much, Lori, for everything that you've done. I know it's not been popular for her, but every decision she's made and everything that she's brought to this City Council, she's done with our interest at heart. And I also want to recognize our city engineer, Steve Van Dett. Steve, I've said this to you before, this project could not have been completed without your expertise, your guidance. I know you didn't ask for this. I don't think anybody would have asked for this, but he took this project when we asked him to take it, and look at what you have done, Steve. You should be very, very proud of you, Steve. Congratulations. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, who is responsible for securing the federal funds for this important project. I know Mayor Schilling told me back in 2000 that Congressman Gary Peters came to the city and came to the City Council and did what a lot of congressmen really haven't done here for a little while, and they asked us, what is important? He asked, what is important to you? What can I do to help you? And we told him regional transportation is important to us. To have a hub in Troy is important to us. And what did Congressman Peters do? Almost immediately he went out and found federal funding for this great project. So without his effort, this project would have never gotten off the ground. So I am pleased to welcome Congressman Gary Peters.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that very warm introduction. And it is indeed a great day in the city of Troy today. It is very exciting to be standing in front of this gorgeous transit center. And it's particularly exciting because this is really, I think it's a symbol when you see the bricks and mortar of this wonderful building of really communities coming together. As you introduced all of the people that had a part of this, and it took a lot of folks coming together, from elected officials, from the city council to the former mayors to all of the wonderful staff with the city. It would not have happened with all of that effort, but it is also an example not just of government taking a position, but also working closely with the Chamber of Commerce. This is the business community. We saw the business community from the greater Troy area saying that this was important for economic development. We had elected officials and staff members that said, well, here we got a practical problem. Let's just figure out how to solve it and find out how we build those private and public kinds of partnerships that improve our community. And having a transit center here in Troy is without question an incredible positive for this community as we continue to flesh out transit all across the region. As the mayor mentioned, I'm also a real big believer in transit. I think that that's really a powerful driver for economic development throughout the greater Detroit area. And when we look what's happening with the M1 rail project, and hopefully that M1 rail project will connect to a broader regional transit system, it's my belief that you can't have a greater Detroit area unless we have a regional transit system that works for people. We've got to be focused on that. And this Troy Transit Center is a part of that piece. As we build each piece one at a time, we start building a broader network that's going to be important to serve the region and really the whole state. You know, my vision has always been that given where we are in the greater Detroit area here, right between two major financial centers of Chicago and Toronto, you know, we should flourish with that position, that geographic position, which is why I'm hoping as you can get on this Troy, or on the Amtrak here at the Troy Transit, you'll be able to take high-speed rail. I know we're working on higher-speed rail, but let's get to high-speed rail all the way to the city of Chicago. And it'll be exciting when that day comes, and I'm going to fight for that day, when you can also get on a train in Troy and take a high-speed rail all the way to the city of Toronto as well. You can just imagine what will happen to this region if we have high-speed rail connecting Troy, Toronto, Chicago, and Detroit. It'll be transformative. We know that every dollar you put into transit has several dollars of economic development coming back. This focus in Troy, which is a very important focus for both taxis and bus service and rail, will really be a pivotal part of the overall regional system. So it's really a pleasure to be here. I'm glad I was able to play a small role in getting some federal funds, but it was really the effort of everybody here in this audience today that really had this vision of what we can do here in the city of Troy, what we can do in the greater Detroit area, and what we can do to make Michigan the best state in the union. And it all starts right here with these kinds of transit projects. So thank you and congratulations to everybody. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Congressman Peters. I don't think we can stress enough how important it was for us to get started with the federal funding. Thank you again. Next, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Curt Steidl. I got it the second time. He is the director of the Michigan Department of Transportation, and as you've heard this morning, there were so many integral parts that went into putting this all together, and the Michigan Department of Transportation has been so important to us. They've been a leader for us, and we couldn't have done it without them. And I know Governor Rick Snyder appointed Curt as the Transportation Director in January of 2011, and I know he has a great vision, and we're going to be part of that vision. So please welcome Curt Steidl, Director of Michigan Transportation.
Thanks, Mayor. Boy, it is great to see all of you. How long ago was it here? We were just doing the groundbreaking in a big pile of dirt. It was 2 years ago, right? And that is fabulous. So to the city engineer and the attorney and the city council, thank you for all your hard work. I can tell you on behalf of Governor Rick Snyder, thanks for all of your hard efforts. He's been a supporter when the controversy was happening a number of years ago. He weighed in and said, look, we need to get this done. I know that he is pleased that this is here, open today, and I think would extend his congratulations as well. This wonderful new building replaces the shack that used to be on the other side. It's even hard to call that a small shelter. It's a huge improvement. Now we actually have real restrooms. We actually have a platform that is ADA compliant. Wow, imagine that. Welcome to the 21st century. We finally got there. The best part is we have 6 trains daily from Chicago to Pontiac that come right through here. Last year, that line had over 500,000 riders, and that number continues to rise. It continues to go up year to year to year. Now, this of those 500,000 riders, 20,000 riders got on right here. 20,000 got on here. There was another 18,000 that used the bus system in and around here as well. So now when you bring them both together, we have this tremendous opportunity for economic development that the mayor and Congressman Peters talked about. But just the investment right now, the passengers, those 20,000 people that get on here in Troy, that adds $2.8 million of economic activity today. Not even what we're expecting it will grow into. $2.8 million of economic activity. That's $47 per person. So we talk about economic payback, $47 per person. Everybody gets on the train. That sounds like a great trade-off as well. The Congressman mentioned our rail program from Pontiac, Detroit to Chicago, the high-speed corridor. We got lots and lots of work going on. We've got another station opening coming up here in the next couple weeks in Dearborn, which will be fabulous as well. We've got one coming online in Grand Rapids, and the corridor between Dearborn and Kalamazoo that the state purchased a number of years ago has had significant work done on it this last year. This year they're working on the electronics to make sure that the train knows that all the gates are down so it can safely go 110 miles an hour. Now the train already goes 110 miles an hour from Kalamazoo down to Indiana, and I hope many of you have been on that train. And it is quite impressive when you're running next to the state highway where the cars are going 55 miles an hour and you're going 110. That's pretty impressive. Now, next year we should start seeing the testing of the 110 from Dearborn to Kalamazoo in certain sections, and we'll begin to expand that as it's deemed safe by Amtrak and the Federal Railroad Administration. So we are looking forward to the day when that system is in place, and the total trip time between Detroit and Chicago is 4 hours or less. I dare anybody to try to drive that in that time. Well, okay, you may get there, but you might get a visit from a boy in blue. But this really is a great day. I think the other piece that's going to be significant in the next couple of years is new equipment. We have some of the oldest equipment in the country running here in Michigan, and we're part of the program to bring the new equipment that will continue to drive ridership numbers up when we actually get people on trains that actually look like the 21st century as opposed to rehabbed from 1970. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to be here. And again, congratulations to all your staff, for everybody that's done just a tremendous job to get us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those kind words. Our next speaker also kind of got thrust into this project, something he didn't ask for, but when he took the job here, he knew what he was getting into, so he doesn't have a lot of room to speak about it. So, back 2 years ago, I think Brian took the job on November the 12th of 2012, and I think we had the shovels out here on the 27th. So he had been here 2 weeks when we dug dirt and had that. And since then, he's embraced this project. He knew it was important not only to the city, but to the region and the county. And I say it all the time when I introduce him, that he is the right guy at the right time. And it's my pleasure to introduce the city manager for the city of Troy, Brian Kishnick.
Thank you, Mayor. What a distinguished panel of speakers, and it's not usually my habit to go before Brooks Patterson or after Bill Steidl and Congressman Gary Peters, but that's where I'm at today. And I don't know what it means, but as soon as it was my turn to speak, the rain started to come. But what a beautiful day, and we're going to embrace this day and embrace a project of partnerships. It really is a project of partnerships. And when I started 2 years ago, just a little bit before 2 years ago, and I stood up here and emceed the groundbreaking event, I had no idea the opportunities that lied ahead for me to learn about intergovernmental partnerships and the inner workings of so many people and the relationships we were going to build as a result of the Troy Transit Center, a true regional asset. And I want to take just a second to recognize some of those people, and it's impossible, as the mayor said, to recognize everyone. But in the past 2 years, the opportunities and the challenges and the obstacles that have happened were not insurmountable. We always knew we would succeed. So I want to recognize just a few people, and Congressman Peters and his office, not only did they secure the funding, they secured the funding at first, but they kept the funding coming. When the going got tough, they were on the conference call with Lori Bloom and Steve Van Dett and myself and so many other people, and Mark Miller. They were on the phone with us, C.C. Grant, and all these people in Congressman Peters' office. They kept it going. And Therese Cody, I know you're out there somewhere. I have no idea with all these people with such a great turnout, but Therese Cody from MDOT, working with Congressman Peters' office to keep this project going when the headlines were not so promising. But internally and with Congressman Peters' office, we knew we were going to make this happen, and it was going to continue, and the train was going to continue rolling down the track, not to create any puns on this day, but it was going to happen. Secondly, it was the Troy City Council. The Troy City Council who never wavered. And you've met the Troy City Council who voted affirmatively for this project, but Maureen McGinnis, who is here today, who is part of the city council that hired me, part of this promise, and part of this project that is a success, not a failure, it's a success. So let's remember that as we go forward. Maureen McGinnis, thank you for all your work that you've done. So it was people like Brooks Patterson who, when we picked up the phone and Brooks would say, how can I help? How can I help make this a success? Gary Peters, who said, how can we help? How can we help make this a success? Wynn Davis and Therese Cody, I mentioned. How can we make? Ara from the Chamber of Commerce, who's going to speak next, and Glenn Lapin, who kept on pounding the pavement because we tell them, keep getting out there and keep promoting the transit center because it's going to be a regional hub and it's going to be an asset. It's a local asset, it's a regional asset, and believe me when I tell you, Troy is back on track. So let's move forward together and make Troy a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I think it is only fitting that the rain should start when the next train is coming, so people don't have to stand in the rain over there. They can be inside this beautiful building. It's only fitting, I think, that that should happen today. Our next speaker doesn't really need any introduction. I've had the honor and the privilege for the past couple of months of roaming around Troy with L. Brooks Patterson as we opened businesses, as we dug our shovels into the dirt, and I'm trying to figure out if it's good to go before Brooks or if it's good to go after Brooks, and because he's kind of hit me both ways. But today I get to go before him and I get to go after him, so I'm kind of anxious to see what happens. But as I've said at some of the other events that I've been with the county executive, he is the leader of our county. He is someone that is a role model for everyone that's a leader in Troy and everyone that's a leader in our area. He's a role model for fiscal responsibility. And 5 years ago, when we were going through our very tough times, I don't think you have to be a genius to figure out where can we look to try and emulate an organization that's doing it right. So we looked at Brooks's organization. We found out that he was doing a 3-year budget with a 5-year outlook. It made sense to us that you should not kick the can down every year like the state of Michigan tends to do with the 1-year budget, but you should be looking 3 years out. We're a AAA bond rated city. We're only one of 4 in the whole state of Michigan. Of course, Oakland County is a AAA bond rated county also, and I think we feed off of each other. We're AAA bond rated because of Oakland County, and I hope that Oakland County is a AAA bonded rated county because of us too. So it's my pleasure and it's certainly my honor that the county executive, L. Brooks Patterson, would come here today because he has been such an important part of this project. He's always backed this project. Whenever we asked for his help, he's backed it. He knows that it's important to Automation Alley, whose headquarters are located here in Troy. So please welcome the best county executive in the state of Michigan, L. Brooks Patterson.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's, I don't know, Curt, how you felt, but before I come up here to speak, the guy picks up the microphone, so I'm going to keep it clean. You can bring it back. Yeah, pardon my entrance there, it's a little bit dramatic, but I'm sure by now most of you heard about my accident 27 months ago, and I've come to the conclusion your bones don't heal as fast when you're 32. I'm glad to be here. This is a historic day for the city, of course, and for the region and Oakland County, being right in the middle of the region. This sets the standard, I think, for any other intermodal kind of facility. It's really going to be, it is the state of the art, and I'm anxious for all of us to get across the street here soon and take a look at it, take a look close. Troy, you know, I've been, at least I used to live here years ago. It promotes itself as a place where families and businesses thrive. In Oakland County, we have a slogan, it's where people and technology prosper. So it's sort of like the marriage of those two ideals. This multi-transit center, I think, says all of that. Riders will be greeted by this very modern building right behind me here. And it says, welcome to the county's largest city. It's a building that says we embrace technology, efficiency, and a better quality of life. And it replaces the Mayor Daniels boarding platform. Now I know why. Now I know why they took the mic away. Across the tracks, I love this expression. Across the tracks, the new transit center, there is a modest, inadequate concrete platform, and it served 23,257 riders last year. I mean, we're going to do that in a good afternoon over here. That's out of a total of about 500,000 riders who travel the Pontiac to Chicago route on an annual basis, and of the 500,000 represents about 1.5% of Amtrak's total of 31.2 million. So Amtrak is alive and well. The old platform riders were unable to directly access the smart buses from over there. The new facility has a smart bus area that can accommodate up to 4 buses. There's a taxi cab, drop off and pick up for passengers, an upgraded parking area for those who choose to drive the car to this location, and even access to the county's Troy-Oakland Airport. It's about a 9-iron from here. And did you know that the Troy-Oakland Airport is considered the best located airport for private business travelers because of its proximity to the downtown, to the business community here in the city of Troy. And I think that was a designation by the city council. I don't know where it came from. Across the tracks, the riders were exposed to the best and worst every day, depending on what the weather was. Today, riders are safe, secure, and warm inside this 2,000 square foot transportation center behind me. Across the tracks, it was not easy for individuals who require special accommodation to access trains. The Troy Transit Center is ADA compliant. That means a whole lot to me, Marilyn. I appreciate that. For instance, the ADA compliant sidewalks, they give you direct access to ground transportation. Elevators and stairs enable all passengers to access the pedestrian bridge over the tracks, which lead to a new Amtrak platform on the west side of the tracks. It's connected. Everything's coming together right here at this point. The project was a collaborative effort, and so many people have been thanked this morning, and properly so. It had the support of Amtrak, the state of Michigan, SMART, SIMCOG, the National Association of Railroad Passengers, Michigan Association of Railroad Passengers, the Troy Chamber of Commerce, the City of Birmingham, our U.S. Senators, Congressman Peters. So many people and so many levels of government and in the private sector came together to make this exciting day happen. And I'm excited for Troy, and I'm excited for my county, Oakland, because today we begin riding into the future. So congratulations.
Thank you, Brooks. As was stated earlier, the Troy Chamber of Commerce has been an integral part of this project since its inception. Our current president, Ara Tavrizian, is going to speak today, but I think we must recognize that in the past there have been other people associated with this project from the chamber, and I would be remiss if Michelle Hodges is here. Thank you for all your help you did before you left here. Thank you so much. But as I said, Ara was appointed president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce in June of 2013. And once again, it was somebody that didn't ask for this project, but when he was brought into the project, he embraced it. At least I think he embraced it. He tells me he embraced it. And he's been an integral part since then to go with Glenn Lapin, our redevelopment specialist from the city of Troy, and get sponsors for this great center. So it's my pleasure to introduce the President and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, Ira Topuzian.
Well, it's not pouring, so it's technically Chamber of Commerce weather, right? Well, thank you, Dane. It was actually part of the job description, just to be totally honest, when I took this. And this was something certainly that I saw from afar. My previous job was actually working at the city of Novi. So I know that the city has been thanked for all that they've done. But I don't know that all of you really truly understand what this entails. So if you could give them all a nice round of applause again, because it's this staff that helped make this happen. It's certainly my pleasure to be part of today's festivities. On behalf of the Troy Chamber, the Board of Directors, I'd like to congratulate the City of Troy as we celebrate today's milestone opening, which can play a significant role in the overall economic growth here in Troy, Michigan. The significance of this transit center ties into a much bigger picture for not only our city, but the region. If you look at some of the major metropolitans throughout the world, you'll find mass transit is at the heart of it. Yes, we don't have mass transit per se like some of these other cities, but a transit center such as this one is a step in the right direction. Transit center doesn't limit possibilities, it creates opportunities. And it'll allow for a greater audience of a talented workforce for our business community here in Troy. That bigger picture is also tying the transit center into other economic development opportunities that will also grow Troy in the future. This is a long-term approach that I know the mayor and I share in vision, and we're excited about where this could take us down the road. So many thanks, once again, to the several Troy Chamber members and local businesses that assisted with sponsorship contributions that the mayor spoke of earlier. And I'd like to, if you would, hold your applause and like to recognize these following companies. Comerica Bank, Magna, Meritor, Carlisle Wortman, also MDOT, Amtrak, HRC, Newman Smith, U.S. Department of Transportation, Tools Clark, and certainly not least the City of Troy and the Troy Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ira. I'm going to deviate from the program just a little bit because we do have a distinguished person here today that I think we need to recognize. And he's been part of this project since day one. He's always supported it. He's a Troy resident. He has done so much for not only the city of Troy, the state of Michigan, but for his country. So I'd like to ask if Senator John Papageorge would just come up and say a couple of words.
First, I want to thank all the speakers who've already been up here. They gave 95% of anything I might say. Let me just give you a few numbers, though, to put this in perspective. Last time I looked, there are some 81,000 people that live in Troy. 121,000 people work in Troy. Of that 121,000, only 8,000 live in Troy. That's the impact that Troy has already had on the region. And now with this transit center, think of what can happen to this region. Think of the folks that will be working out of this transit center, all the way from part-time people who during rush hour show up with a car to take people the last mile or two to work. Without this thing here, when that rail comes up Woodward and dumps people off, how do they get the last few miles to work? So it's important locally, regionally, nationally. And a whole bunch of people worked a long time since 1993 on this. I'm happy to have been a part of it, and congratulations to everybody. Thank you.
John. You know, Birmingham was part of this project back when it started, and sometimes things happen and it's out of your control, but I certainly want to recognize today, there are some people here from Birmingham that I would like to recognize. City Manager Joe Valentine is here from Birmingham, back here. Thank you, Joe, for coming. It's our hope that we're going to become partners again in the future. Commissioner Mark Nikita is here from Birmingham. Thank you for coming. Commissioner George Stilgard from Birmingham is here also, wherever you are. Thank you for coming also. Last but not least, I think it's important that someone is here from Amtrak, because they are so important to what's going on here today. They've been with us since the start. We had to wait to get a contract with Amtrak before we had a few things settled, but you know, it's my pleasure to introduce Raymond Lang, the Chief of State Government Relations for Amtrak. Good morning. Thank you.
So that's what I have to look forward to at 32, huh? 10 short years from now. Thank you very much for having me. When you go last, unfortunately, many of the things that you were prepared to say have already been covered by the other speakers. So I think I'm going to dispense with my prepared remarks from here and speak from the heart. As you would imagine, in my role at Amtrak, I often get a chance to do this sort of thing, to go to station openings and cut a ribbon for a beautiful new facility, and this ranks right up there with the best of any train station in the United States. It really does. I've grown fond of saying that train stations are really front doors. My Amtrak colleagues and I came up to Birmingham last night on the train from Chicago, and we stepped off the train in Birmingham. We were some of the last Amtrak passengers that would have stepped off a train in Birmingham last night. And sorry we're leaving town, but you know, we have a wonderful new front door here. Train stations are really where our passengers begin and end their journeys, and they really leave an indelible impression upon our passengers. And if you have a good experience at the train station, you're likely to have a good and better experience on board the train. So they're not just really our front doors, they're really communities' front doors too. And Troy has really, since 1993, that's remarkable that Mayor, that your community has been working on this since 1993. I've been at Amtrak since 1995, and I'm considered ancient at Amtrak, so that's really remarkable, and I applaud you for the vision that your community had in building this train station. As Director Steidl pointed out, though, this is more than just a train station for the city of Troy. This is part of the overall dramatic improvements which are coming quickly in succession on the Chicago-Detroit corridor. In just a few days, my Amtrak colleagues and I will be at a place called Englewood on the south side of Chicago, and we'll be cutting the ribbon at the Englewood flyover. If you've been on an Amtrak train before going into Chicago, you know that as you get within sight of the Sears Tower, not the Willis Tower, you all of a sudden sometimes come to a stop for an unexplained reason, and that's because one of the busiest railroad intersections of the United States is at a place called Englewood, where the Metro Railroad tracks cross over the Norfolk Southern tracks at grade. It's a very, very busy crossing. They cross at grade. It's like two interstate highways coming together at grade. With federal funds, the Metro Railroad has been lifted up and over the Norfolk Southern there at Englewood. In fact, it went into service last week when we came over the Englewood intersection yesterday. We saw the crews ripping out the old rail and ties, and we'll cut the ribbon officially next week to commemorate the start of service on the Englewood flyover, which will eliminate 100% of the delays that we incurred at that intersection. That's just one of the many improvements happening on this corridor. As we continued on west out of Chicago into Indiana, we saw the Norfolk Southern crews making improvements in northwest Indiana in a project called the Indiana Gateway Project, which is the installation of new ties, new signals, new sidings, and new switches to help improve the congestion issues that occur in northwest Indiana. As we got on the Amtrak-owned right-of-way at Porter, Indiana, and onto Kalamazoo, our train operated at 110 miles an hour with free onboard Wi-Fi for our passengers. It's really wonderful, as the director said, to be going 110 miles an hour on a train. You really feel it. It's really remarkable to experience that sense of speed. The director mentioned also that the state has now acquired the Norfolk Southern right-of-way. It purchased the Norfolk Southern Railroad between Kalamazoo and Detroit and is in the process of upgrading that corridor for 110 mile an hour service. So we'll be going 110 really from Porter, Indiana on into Detroit. We passed the new Dearborn train station, which we'll be cutting the ribbon for in just a few weeks. And we came to here. We actually came to Birmingham, but our engineer made a test stop last night just to make sure they could do it. So this is right. We're good. So this is part of a larger overall Chicago-Detroit project. We have the new equipment coming, and that will really cap it off. 110 mile an hour service with through most of the route, eliminating the congestion problems on the Norfolk Southern and adding new equipment with free Wi-Fi and other amenities for our passengers. That 500,000 passenger number is only going to grow, and it's going to grow dramatically. So, Mayor, I really do applaud your city residents for being so visionary such a long time ago and getting your community ready for this wonderful new experience which is coming on the Chicago-Detroit corridor. Congressman, one last word for you. I know you sort of downplayed your role in all of this, and I would disagree. All of the improvements that I mentioned were made with federal funds. Federal funds were so crucial to all of these improvements, and I really, being at the Amtrak world and the government affairs world, we really keep an eye on what happens in Washington. We really do. I'm grateful to you and your colleagues for your support in securing federal funds for this corridor. It couldn't have happened without your efforts. Director Steidl, your staff is wonderful. They're professional. They're diligent, and I appreciate that. All of us at Amtrak really do. Mayor, thank you for giving Amtrak a great front door.
Thank you, Raymond, and thank you everyone that came here today to be part of this great event. I do have one more thank you for Congressman Peters. Shortly we're going to raise the flag on the flag post over at the Transit Center. The Troy Police Honor Guard is going to do that for us. But I want to thank Congressman Peters because that flag that they're going to raise over there was flown at the White House. And it is now going to be part of our Transit Center forever. So thank you so much for providing that flag to us. Thank you. Now, if I could get those that are seated to please rise and take your attention to the flagpole. The Troy Honor Guard will now raise the flag at the Troy Transit Center.